I'm Christopher Shields, Curator of Library and Archives at the Greenwich Historical Society. And as we prepare this Memorial Day to reflect on the great sacrifices that have and continue to be made by members of our armed forces, I'd like to share a very special collection of correspondence that was generously donated to the Historical Society's Library and Archives in 2019. The collection consists of 12 letters written by Coscob native Sargeant Charles E. Rich, a couple of which are addressed to his brother, Private George Rich, and the others are to his sister-in-law, George's wife, Catherine Bologna Rich, and at the time she was living on the post road in Coscob. Sargeant Rich graduated from Greenwich High School and he worked in the Electrolux press department after his graduation. And then after the outbreak of the Second World War, he enlisted in the Army to serve his country. It's probably difficult to tell on screen, but when you look at the documents, you can see that they're actually photographic prints of letters, and they're not the actual original handwritten letters. And at first glance, that probably seems a little strange or unusual. The letters are in a format called V-mail, which is short for Victory Mail. This was the system that was used during World War II to correspond with soldiers. So after the letter was written, it would be reviewed by censors to make sure that there was no confidential or restricted information contained in them. And then at that point, the original letters would be photographed, and it was the images of the letters that would then be sent on to the destination as tiny film negatives. And then it was only when they arrived at their destination that they would actually be printed out and sent to the intended recipients. And the reason behind with this was, instead of having to ship tons and tons of paper documents, they were able to transport the messages in a very small format, freeing up enormous amounts of space for critical war supplies. Personal correspondence is among the most special primary source documents that you'll find in an archival collection. And I think this is because they often give a unique perspective on family relationships and current events, personal challenges and emotions, and just the little tidbits of everyday life at the time that the letter is written. And Sargeant Rich talks about the extreme rationing and power blackouts that he experiences while he is stationed in England. He also talks very fondly of the English family that he was living with while there, and how being with this family and their two young daughters really helped lift his spirits, particularly over the Christmas holiday. The last letter in the collection was written to his sister-in-law on May 21st, 1944, just a little over 2 weeks before Sargeant Rich was mortally wounded during the D-Day invasion of Normandy. The collection includes a photograph of the wounded Sargeant Rich that was taken by an Army Signal Corps photographer shortly before he died. He is buried at the Normandy American Cemetery, not far from the location where he and so many others made the ultimate sacrifice on that fateful day. This collection was donated to the Greenwich Historical Society by Sargeant Rich's grandniece, who lives in Greenwich along with other members of Sargeant Rich's extended family. I am so grateful to her and all the other people who so generously donate these precious family items so that they can be preserved and shared for generations to come. If you are interested in this or any of the other collections at the Library and Archives, You can find my contact information on the Historical Society's website at greenwichhistory.org.